I understand it's a 5-minute call. I'll ring a bell at 4 minutes.
That's my understanding. Indeed, I'd like to follow the good spirit of my parliamentary colleagues this morning and to take a short call to support this bill. The purpose, thank you, that honourable member. The purpose of this bill is to modernise and improve the law relating to the publication, availability, reprinting, revision and official versions of legislation and brings them together in a single piece of legislation. The Law Commission put it very well when it stated in its report that the state has an obligation to make law accessible to citizens. People have to obey the law. Ignorance of it is no excuse, so they need to be able to find it and understand it. They will not respect the law if they cannot. Moreover, law which is not accessible is expensive in terms of both time and money. So, Mr. Speaker, the objective of this legislation is to make sure that the law is accessible to people and that the content of what is printed is reliable in terms of what this House has passed. At the Select Committee, the bill was carefully considered because it deals with important constitutional matters. The bill reflects the serious work that has gone into modernising the rules around legislation. The bill provides unelected officials greater power to change the words agreed on by Parliament as the law of New Zealand. These provisions are carefully constructed to ensure that the powers are limited only to obvious errors. One concern shared by a number of parliamentary colleagues, as expressed by the Honourable Marion Street at the bill's first reading, is about any proposed changes to the disallowance mechanisms. At Select Committee, we looked closely at the regulations disallowance changes proposed in this bill. The provisions in the bill that separated the publication and the disallowance of delegated legislation and the broad definition of disallowable instrument ensures that there will be parliamentary oversight of the use of delegated powers by the executive and make it more difficult to avoid disallowance. This bill establishes the practice of revision bills, which will be overseen by the Attorney General and will provide for the revision of the wording, numbering, title, etc. of Acts of Parliament. The aim of such bills will be to simplify New Zealand legislation and make it easier to access and understand. Mr. Speaker, the bill established a 3-yearly program of systematic revision of acts, and one of the other changes being proposed under this bill is to modernise drafting style or plain English drafting. There are good initiatives, and as the Law Commission said in its report, that the state has an obligation to make law accessible to citizens. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker.
Call Louise Upston.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm proud to support the legislation.